talking to you, and there's constantly struggle. You got to discern those. But the real basic key that I've hit on several times in the past videos is your awareness. Those voices are there. They're going to encourage you or discourage you either way, but your awareness that they're there and paying attention can help discern which one you're following.
Right. Well, terrific day to you, Mr. Walsh, Steve, that is. How are you?
Doing good, Steve.
Terrific, excellent. And terrific day to all of you. Welcome to the Steve and Steve Show. That is what we're doing.
It is.
And we appreciate you coming here. I mean, you've subscribed, or if you haven't, there is a small percentage out there that wander in and haven't subscribed yet. We need you here with us, as all of the subscribers could attest to. We need you here, right?
That's right. That's right.
And we thank you.
Yep. Thanks for hitting that play. So, Steve,
I got something for us. I mean, we're kind of smiling, right?
So the first part of our show is to establish our drinks.
That's right. It is. And this time, because as some of you know who have been listening to this, we've been in 90 days of a wonderful, wonderful spiritual exercise. And now we have exited that, and we are in the time of feasting. So because of that, we're actually going to be having a beer today, Steve. I got you the summer pills, and I got myself the Oktoberfest, because we're kind of in between. The summer has just waned, and now we're into my favorite time of the year, which is the fall, and I think your favorite time might be summer.
Yep.
So Oktoberfest summer pills. There we go.
All right. Sounds good.
And we are filming this one at 6 a.m., so we're having a beer. Oh, that's not completely
that's not true.
That's not. I think we're close to the... Salud! Oh, first beer in 90 days.
I have a hard time believing that was your first beer.
Yeah,
in 90
that's
days.
probably not. That's probably not true.
That's good. It's a very tasty beer, though.
You like that one?
Yeah, I do.
Light
and
and
we are not getting paid or giving promotion to any one of those two brewery companies.
It's a true statement. Yep.
So we do this just to add a little flavor to the show.
Yes.
So Steve, we have a topic today.
Yes, and I've already forgotten what the topic is, so I'm going to let you introduce the topic.
Oh, great. It was your idea.
It was? So I'm getting older. No, that's not true.
All right. So the topic is more along the line of what we tell ourselves, the voices in our minds.
Now I remember the voice in our head.
Yeah. So
That's
you remember? Do you want to try to explain what you were thinking earlier?
Well, so probably all of us, since we were very little, heard about the different voices in our head. Of course, in Pinocchio, it's the cricket, the conscience that comes up. You know, you've heard it sometimes in religious terms where you've got an angel and a devil, the good and the bad, and all.
So the cricket was the conscience.
Yeah, in Pinocchio, you didn't know that?
I thought it was a cricket.
No, he was Pinocchio's conscience.
Ah.
Yeah, you should.
Well, you learn something new every day.
That show is really that's a different one.
That's a controversial show.
That is a controversial, yeah. But anyway, so that voice in your head, and that voice in your head can be telling you something in all kinds of situations, right? That can be a voice that is a protective voice. It can be a voice that is an inspirational voice, right? Like, for example, I have a quick story, if that's okay.
Yep.
Of a protective voice.
Okay.
When I was just graduated college, and this is a while ago, I went on a trip to Europe, and we went to the Munich beer gardens, and I met a guy from Canada, and we went there and had a few beers at the beer gardens, right? And when I say a few beers there, they were like these 2-liter steins. You know, it was an exercise to drink them. And we drank a few. As we were leaving, it's these cobblestone garden, outside, and there's these young people playing on these BMX bikes. And they've got a little stone deal up with a ramp on it, and they're riding these little BMX bikes and jumping this, right? And in my state of mind, I said, wow, I got to do that. Well, that little voice in my head immediately said, nice. It was a kind voice. I don't really think you should do that, Steve. Me and my beer strength of good German steins of beer, I said, what are you talking about? I can do this. And so I walk up to these little German kids and say, hey, could we borrow your, and I had very broken German, could we borrow your bikes? I want to try this. And I tell you, the kids knew the voice in my head because they looked at each other and they just busted out laughing and said, yeah, and gave me the bike. So I get on this bike, and I'm bigger than they are. So these are those little bikes, and so it's a little bit, it wasn't tiny, but I ride over here a ways so I could get enough runway to jump on this thing. Well, I'm up here riding on it, and as soon as I got on the bike, my little voice in my head said, okay, now it's too far. Don't do this, okay? Stop. Don't do this. And I still said no. I start pedaling down the runway, and that voice one last time, the third time, says, Steve, stop right now. Do not jump this. Do you think I listened, Steve?
I don't think you listened.
Flash forward to
about what happened.
Me in the hospital because I didn't listen, and I jumped the thing and flipped over the bike and landed on my head on the cobblestone. Luckily, I survived. But my point is, that's an example of a voice in my head that was a very deeply concerned and friendly voice that I ignored 100%. So that's an example of, hey, don't do this.
So did you break the bike?
I didn't break the bike, and the kids were, I do remember before things went kind of dark, kids laughing really a lot, little young kids, maybe 12 years old or so. They were laughing at me. I don't blame them. No, the bike was fine. It was me. That was, in fact, when I got into the hospital, the doctor, he had to do some stitches on my eye, and he said, I don't think that you're going to need any anesthetic. So, anyway,
all right.
That's one voice.
Well, I think
the voice says no.
You had two voices there.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you had one voice that said this was a good idea, and the other voice said this is not a good idea.
Yeah, but the one that said it was a good idea, that was me. I think that was all me.
That was the kind of like a DUI, right? Under the influence type mind. But I think you have. When I think about when we say voices in our minds, I don't think we're talking schizophrenic type voices.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Right. I think we're talking about the ambition voice and maybe the protective voice. And the way I like to look at it, if you remember Saturday morning cartoons,
Yep.
there would be Sylvester, and Sylvester's little angel would pop open, and then on the other side, Sylvester's devil would pop open, right? So depending on what the situation is, one would encourage or discourage, and so either way. But when we look at our goals,
right,
and things that we want to go after, right? So when we look at our goals, there's hope and there's excitement and you want to go do things. And then once you start going down that path, the other voice kicks in and says, wait a second.
You're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You're too old. You're too young. You're this color. You're that color. You're male. You're female. So that subconscious voice pops in and starts telling you negative things versus encouraging you. Now,
where does that voice come from? Let me stop you for a second and say, where does that voice, that everything we've been talking about on this show is, you got to take some risks. And it's not the risk like getting on a BMX bike and, being drunk and jumping a thing and ending up in the hospital. It's a risk like going outside of your comfort zone in some kind of an investment or something like that.
Right.
Where does the voice come from, Steve, that says, oh, no, you can't do that?
Well, that's kind of like, I think it's your protector. I think it's your doubter, right? It's it's subconsciously in your mind that you're taking feedback from all of your past history and ideas. Past history ideas come up.
Failures, kind of thing?
Failures,
Okay.
so it's the protective piece of your mind that's coming up, and it holds you back. So knowing that you have those two voices, the positive and the negative, and knowing when to listen to those, right? So if you listen to the protector in your story as you're doing the BMX thing, right?
Right.
Then that probably would have been a good situation to listen to the protector. But when you're going after goals like buying a rental property or going after the new job or taking that little bit extra risk someplace,
New investments.
yeah,
of some
getting out of your
sort.
comfort zone, right? That
Right.
protector voice is trying to protect you from leaving that comfort zone, and so in that case, it's not a good thing. But in the case of your BMX, it was a good thing.
Right.
So there's possibilities of each voice encouraging you to go one way or another, and you need to be aware and listen to them and discern which is the one you want to really listen to right now, right? And so if you're expanding your comfort zone, and if you're trying to grow mentally, financially, that if you're trying to grow and that protector voice comes in, you need to discern that and say, okay, I need to listen but move forward.
Right. Okay.
And in the encouraging voice, the dreamer in you, you need to look at that and say, okay, is this a dream that I really want to go after, and put that prominently in front of the doubter when things are not when you're trying to do that expansion.
So in
that
both
growth.
cases, there is a discernment process.
Yeah.
To make sure you're discerning that this voice is, and in that discernment, I think you don't want to be caught in this kind of neutral zone of inaction, of complete inaction either, right? I mean, you got to decide.
I think if you're not doing something, then you're really predominantly listening to your protector.
Although in the case of my, I don't think that it's exactly that, because in the case of my BMX experience, that protector was saying the right thing, was really
right.
So what there is this almost this inertia, where if you just sit in inertia of doing all you do then is be taken by distractions.
Well, so we have to look at the content of where we're at, right? Because you were already making a decision you were going to go ride the bicycle.
Right.
Right. Now you could have walked right past those guys and not even give them a second of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or you look at it from what we're trying to do is self-development and set goals and get people to go out of their comfort zone by not making a decision, by just sitting around. You are making a decision to stay in comfort zone.
Right.
Right. So two different contents of situation, but by me using your BMX experience to move forward.
Right.
So there's feedback you have from your doubter or your protector that you can use to safely move forward. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, although I think I'm more of a social kind of community guy. So instead of, for me, it being the guy on the right side and the guy on the left side, I'm going to consider it like a council of different characters that I sit down and take counsel from. So there is the advisor, there is the protector, there is the motivator, there is the militant, and I'm going to create, now that we're talking about this, that kind of advisory board.
So now I think you're getting into schizophrenic.
That might be, no, actually it would be multi-personality. Kind of thing. And yeah, a beautiful mind. It's to some degree a beautiful mind. But I kind of like the idea of this.
So in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich,
it is different, I realize.
He does talk about an imaginary mastermind, and he does have key people in past history. Lincoln was one, or I think Roosevelt was another, and different key people that were on his council that he would have a meditational type phase out of the day and communicate with these people. And each one brought their character to the table.
Right, and because he had read about each one, he had a sense of who they were, but they
Right.
actually went well outside of that in his imagination.
I think that can be healthy if you use it in the right way, right? Because you mentioned different things, and maybe there's a financial guy that kind of
Right.
you can convert with a financial. Maybe there's a guy that is more of a do-it-yourselfer type guy that you want to bring in. So you could probably do something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it comes down to either your binary of, good, bad, or you've got a council. I like the idea of having a council, and I'm sitting there perched, and I would like to hear from you. And then if one of them is really bad, I say, off with your head, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But think about like the day-to-day stuff. When you are out and about doing your normal day, and you start to do a little bit of daydreaming, do a little bit of thinking about your goals and things you need to get done. And when you think of those, that's when the dreamer or the doubter shows up.
Yes, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
It's not all the time that your counsel is going to show up and tap you on the shoulder and go, hey, Lincoln here.
No, you're right. You're right. So maybe it's a combination of the two, because when you hold counsel, you let a lot more in. During your day, you've got your assistants.
And there's an intent to have counsel, versus when you're doing day to day, that doubter shows up in the most inconvenient times.
I agree. Now, I like to think of that as my guardian angel, and I don't want to hear from the other one. So I only want to hear from my guardian angel. I don't want to hear from the demons there. Yeah.
I think. No, I don't. I would have to disagree about the guardian angel. I think the guardian angel is there for you, but I don't think. I think he is there at a whole new level that's bigger than we can imagine.
Well, I agree with that. I agree. Yeah.
I think this is our subconscious mind doubting us, and so
I'm going to go with the guardian angel on this one. I'm going to go with I am.
Maybe there's some whispering. Maybe there's some whispering going on, but for the most part,
in fact, right now, right here, our guardian angels are talking to us, and frankly, mine is arguing with Steve, not his guardian angel. His guardian angel is going like this right now.
Well, anyway.
It's the beer that we haven't even drunk.
I think we're getting in a danger zone of diminishing what the guardian angel can do.
Oh no, what the guardian angel can do is amazing. There's no doubt about it. But I know we got to wrap this up. But I was wondering if maybe I kind of gave the example of my story of when I should have listened to that voice. Do you, by any chance, have any kind of a small short story of where you actually listened to a voice that gave you that was a bit of a risk but turned out really well? Do you have any kind of, in your real estate world, in your investing world, in your scouting world?
Well, so I think
where you were afraid, but
I think a lot of us have that, right? And you can look. I think everybody can look at it. A new job.
There you go.
Right, or if you're applying for a job, a lot of times you look at there's 20-some points on a job posting, and you only might see 5 or 6 that you go, like, I can do that, but the other ones I'm not sure.
Right.
But you still apply for it, right? So you're listening when you look at it, it's like I can't. When you say, I don't know about these other 15, but I know 5 for sure. You're hearing from both sides. You're hearing, then the dreamer is saying, you can do this job, and the doubter's going, I don't know about that.
Right.
So then you push forward and you apply for it, and then you get the interview, and you just keep pushing through. So I think we all can quickly think of situations like that. Buying a new home. There's a lot of doubt that goes into buying a new home, or even selling a home. We're in the process of moving, and we're selling a home, and I'm thinking, this is a nice house. Right?
That you're living in.
Yeah. Well, why am I leaving this? Right. So that's the doubter coming in.
Yeah.
Not so much to doubt the new house, but to doubt why the heck are you leaving?
Right.
So
you got a good thing going here.
Right. Right. And that would be similar to a job, right? Why would you leave a good job but the reality is there could be a better job out there.
Or there could be something that is not working for somebody else, but actually either working for yourself or creating something on that quadrant that we talked about in another video about the cash flow quadrant, where you're working for creating a business or
Yeah.
creating some investment,
Yeah.
passive kind of income.
Yeah.
You know.
So we do need to wrap up, Steve, but I think the key here is that you do have a dreamer and a doubter, and they're constantly talking to you, and there's constantly struggle. You have to discern those. But the real basic key that I've hit on several times in the past videos is your awareness. Those voices are there. They're going to encourage you or discourage you either way, but your awareness that they're there and paying attention can help discern which one you're following.
Right. I totally agree with you. And I would only add that don't be afraid of creating an advisory group as well and personalizing those into those various planes. If you're that kind of a social animal that you like to do that.
So read Think and Grow Rich by
Yeah, you should
Napoleon
do that,
Hill
too.
to understand what he's talking about.
Well, even without understanding that, you can create personas that are personas of motivation. And like I said,
well, we'll do another video on that topic.
That's a good idea.
Because
I
that's
think
a
that's a
whole
good
new
idea.
topic, and I think we're expanding this one beyond what it could be.
we've got some really, he always wants to, because he's got that binary thing.
gotta-
go out there and get your advisory board.
We got to keep people watching our videos. We can't make them too long.
Oh,
So, anyways,
all right.
thank you for watching.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Please subscribe. I hope this one helped, even if we touched about 5 different topics.
Yeah, scattered.
So,
Cheers
cheers.
to summer leaving and fall coming.
Enjoy.